Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another fix-it video, well, a trying to fix video. And we have another pressure washer here. This one is the Force 2000. This one somebody had advertised on Craigslist as not working, free. It was listed with a whole bunch of other things. I wrote to them and inquired, when you say not working, what do you mean? Does it not start? Does the pressure like surge? And they responded back with, this is the model, it's free. So I was like, okay, I'll take that as it is. It's free, I'll come get it anyway. We'll give it a shot. The only thing I've done off camera is I plugged it in and noticed that it does not work. So I'll show you guys that right now. Plug. Plugged it into a known good working outlet and nothing. Now I don't know if this is a model that needs to be plugged in order to, or plugged into water supply before it'll turn on. I would think it would make some type of noise anyway. I could be wrong on that, so we might have to troubleshoot that a little bit further, but I will show you the first thing I did notice when I did this is when I plugged it in here, it's got one of those GFCI plugs on it, which it's supposed to have. There is no light on this. So I'm wondering, is this as simple as there's a fuse in here that has gone bad? So let me take this apart and we'll go open this up and we'll check to see if there's a fuse in there, and we'll check to see if it's as easy as that to get this pressure washer up and running. Could it be that easy? Maybe. Looks like there's 2 or 6 screws in this. Let's open it up. It actually looks like there's 2 special locking screws at the top and then 4 standard Phillips screws at the bottom. My assumption is that means that the fuse is under here and they don't want you to get into this part of it. I hope that's right. Sadly, the screwdriver I have is too big. Hold on. This one should be a better fit. And there's no fuse. Well, that being the case, let's at least check continuity between these wires to the terminal ends and see if that's it. Otherwise, I can't imagine that they put the fuse under these special bolts or these special screws. They're like square heads of some type. I think I have an adapter for that I can use to open that up anyways, but I would have assumed that there's a fuse in here. Maybe there's no fuse because this the GFCI part of it is like in lieu of a fuse. I'm not sure. So I'm not getting any continuity between either of these wires and either of these prongs. Just looking at the wiring of it, my assumption was that there was continuity there. There should be continuity here. Maybe because it's GFCI that is different. So let me go get a square head adapter, see if I have one to get into here. All right, square head adapter that fits. There's another one down under here that I almost missed. I'm having to remove the strain relief piece as well so I can have some wiggle room to get to this. There we go. Now it comes with a rubber gasket, I'm sure, for the water tightness of it since it is a wet application. I'm trying to check around the board. Trying to wiggle this out. The top seems free. It looks like on the terminal, I need to take out the terminal blocks as well in order to release this whole thing. So remember, black to brass, white to silver. Ooh, and remember, black goes on the left, white goes on the right. I'm trying to put them back in because I have to remove these as well, which would mean there's no more indication by color when I put it back. So I'm gonna try to put these back down just so they don't get lost. Okay, and here we go. Here is the part on the inside. I'm gonna look for anything on here that may be fuse or test reset. Test is bottom, reset's top. So if I push this in, not sure if they're supposed to click or something. I do see some corrosion up around this part of the board. I'm also not seeing anything marked as fuse, so they might not have a fuse. So it does, in looking at this a little bit, it does look like these terminal blocks where there's where the mains comes in, goes down and around to these little solder balls, and something in this GFCI circuit, I'm trying to figure out exactly how it works, will make contact or not make contact. And I'm thinking they don't bend very well. So I gotta figure out how this mechanism that does this works to know when it resets. Ooh. Well, I just broke off a small little plastic piece here. Which may or may not be a big deal. So what my thought is if this thing is bad, if it's not something that I can fix and make it work again, especially with this little piece that broke off, I'm wondering, though I don't know if this does anything in the circuit. I'm not 100% certain. But I'm wondering if it would be wise just to be able to take like an old hair dryer, because all hair dryers, because they're meant to be used around wet places, have a similar type of GFCI circuitry at the end. And as long as it can take the same amount of current and voltage, I lob off the end of the hair dryer cord and replace the end of this with that, because if this is what the problem is, my question is I got to figure out the best way to fault find and determine that this is the problem before I could go down that route to try. So I definitely feel that the issue, and let's see how good of a zoom I can get on this to actually focus. I think you can see that there's a little space between, yeah, keep focusing there if you can, camera. I'm not sure how well. There's a little space right here between these two pieces, and I think that's where the GFCI protection comes in, is it opens that contact if it senses water and it trips. I'm not seeming to be able to get this into a state of some type where it will stay reset. So let me hit the like reset button with one hand. The bottom probe of my multimeter onto this one side tied into the terminal block. I'm pushing the reset button from the back, and I'm still not getting continuity between the two. So I got to understand how this circuit works to know what it mechanically does to bring these joints together or not. I'm not sure if it's this mechanism here, if it plungers up and down in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't seem to want to like press or spin or twist. I'm not sure what it's supposed to do when it's in the functional position. Yeah, my best guess as of now is something is supposed to functionally push this little plastic piece up. The one I broke off over here, this is going to be a problem now that it's broken off. I think it's supposed to push it, because it used to come out here, push it up to make that contact. I'm just unsure what drives that. It looks like there's a piece in here that might do it, but I will tell you, even just trying to like force it, it doesn't push. It doesn't have any movement at all to it. I'm not sure if it's frozen or if there's a different way that it makes that movement. All right, this is gonna be one of those don't try this at home moments, but in order to prove the fault, what I'm gonna do is I have this old useless extension cord, because what I went to, I no longer have. I'm gonna cut it right in the middle. I'm gonna connect my white and my black wires directly to the ends of this, bypassing the GFCI protection, just to prove if this is the fault or not. Because if I still don't get any power out of this machine after that, there's more to it going on that we need to delve into. Okay, so what I've done is I've tapped these with wire nuts directly into this. I've checked the polarity to know when I plug this in it's going to be the right polarity. Granted, it's just 2 wires, which means it's an alternating current, so it shouldn't really matter, but I'm trying to do it as safely as possible in this. Again, not a safe way to do this. Don't try this at home, just to prove the fault. It is plugged in. This is still in the off position. I think we've proven the fault. This thing is now functional. So, assuming that's the only thing that's wrong with this, they said it was broken, who knows? I'm gonna get some water hooked up, very carefully get some water hooked up to this, see if it actually has pressure or if anything else is wrong with this device. All right, pressure washer has a hose hooked up to it now. I'm gonna go turn on the hose and we're gonna see if this thing actually works. Not turning it on yet. Got spittering of water coming out, so everything seems to be good with the water circuit itself. I don't know how this end works. Oh, that's how you release it. There we go. Okay, let's turn it on. It's nice. It actually even turns off when you let go of the handle, which is, I've never had one that did that before. Usually they just run a little bit lower. So it scared me for a minute when it turned off. But a little top heavy, it seems. I mean, this thing is working as I think it should. Get the camera in an area you can see. Square right here. There we go. I mean, I think that's proved it enough that it's working. This side is cleaner than this side. It's not super powerful. There's no additional ends or anything that came with it. This was what I got, bare bones. The machine, the handle, the hose. It seems to spin. I don't know if you can see that, but the thing actually spins around. It's called the turbo on the end. But I mean, I think we've basically figured out what the fault is. So what I got to do now is either see if I can source a GFCI protected end, such as from a hairdryer or whatever. I might just purchase one online. They're probably pretty cheap, and I will finalize this video when I get those parts in and I can actually get this thing all working. But the fault seemed to very simply be a fault in the GFCI end of this. The nice thing is they have these lights on them, and that was the first thing I noticed, is that the light wasn't turning on. I don't know if this is something I could have fixed. I don't know enough about how it works. Probably just more beneficial to then just get the right pieces for it and put them in and have it known and working, and instead of trying to figure out why this thing, what was not working in it and what faulted in the first place. But hey, a little bit of troubleshooting, and I find out what is wrong with this thing. So I'm going to have an electric pressure washer once I get the end for it. So hang tight until we get that in the mail. All right, so it's only the very next day and the new GFCI end has come in. I ordered it actually off of Amazon, but you can pick them up at your local hardware store for the exact same price. I just wasn't getting out there at any time, but it's pretty much the exact same one as what was on here before. The only difference is the buttons, instead of being the old one were white, these ones are black, and this one actually is a grounded receptacle. Granted, there's only 2 wires in this cord, so it's not actually grounded. It just has a ground here for it if it was grounded, but it's really an ungrounded unit right now because there's nothing hooked up to the ground. But I'll show you plugging this in. It's actually, the nice thing is, because it was basically the exact same thing, all the connections, the fittings and all that stuff are the exact same, so I actually got to leave most of this intact and just reuse the stuff that was already there. I didn't have to splice any wires or anything like that. It just all fit right into the housing exactly as it should, because it's essentially the exact same one. But let's go plug it in. And this time, we do have a light, which was my initial giveaway that something was wrong. Hopefully you guys can see that that light is on. Now let's actually let's trip it. See, light is off, I tripped it. Reset it, light is back on. Hopefully that came across. But the GFCI protection is working as it should, at least according to the test. So let's check it out. Yep. So that seems to be all it was just that GFCI end. Had to get replaced, and it is now working great. I did find in the back of the machine there was one more nozzle. There's a spot on this for like 4 different nozzles to go here, 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 and here. It only came with one that was connected in there. I mean, it's a used machine that wasn't working, so I don't know what other ends came with this one originally, but let's check out what this one does, which is different. Okay, that is a... Oh, okay, here we go. This is what I was expecting. It's one you can adjust the stream a lot more. So this is great. This will be a lot. Try not to talk over that. This is one you can adjust the stream a lot more by twisting this to give it different flow. So this is great. This is probably what I'll use more than this one, which is called the turbo, but you know, it does that weird spinny thing, but it works for what it is. But glad that I had this, glad that I found that on there, and great. Here we go. So originally, like I said, plugged this in, no power. I thought it was a fuse. Turns out these GFCI receptacles don't have fuses. It was the whole receptacle itself. And replacing it, 15 bucks. Thing is working as new. So, all right, guys, until next time, stay tuned for another Fix It video.